Imagine mastering your money not as a source of stress or limitation, but as a powerful tool for freedom, purpose, and self-mastery. In a world driven by relentless consumerism and instant gratification, disciplined budgeting often feels like a chore, or worse, a sacrifice. But what if there was a timeless philosophy that could transform how you think about money, turning budgeting from a struggle into a path of inner strength and lasting peace? Welcome to the Stoic Art of the Budget, 6 profound pathways that will guide you to financial freedom and a life aligned with your deepest values. This is more than dollars and cents. It's about cultivating wisdom, temperance, and purposeful living through every financial choice you make. Number 1. Embrace temperance, the virtue of wise moderation. Temperance, or sophrosine, stands as a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy, embodying the principle of wise moderation that governs not only our external actions, but also our internal desires and impulses. This virtue is often misunderstood as mere abstinence or self-denial, yet the Stoics framed it as a balanced and rational approach to living, a conscious awareness of what is genuinely enough, and the discipline to avoid the extremes of excess and efficiency. Far from a life of austerity or sacrifice, temperance is about cultivating freedom through mastery over one's appetites and the ability to choose measured responses to life's temptations. Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius each emphasized that true happiness and tranquility arise not from abundance, but from knowing how to live with sufficiency, wisdom, and restraint. When we apply this ancient wisdom to the modern challenge of budgeting and financial management, temperance transforms how we view money and consumption. In a society saturated by consumerism and instant gratification, the tendency is to equate higher income with higher spending, and often higher debt. Lifestyle inflation, or lifestyle creep, quietly erodes financial stability by encouraging us to spend more as we earn more, turning every raise or bonus into an opportunity for greater consumption rather than security. Embracing temperance means breaking free from this cycle. It requires an intentional decision to live below your means, irrespective of income, by carefully distinguishing wants from needs and resisting cultural pressures to perpetually upgrade your lifestyle. This commitment to temperance in budgeting is not a denial of pleasure or comfort, but a conscious prioritization of long-term well-being over fleeting satisfaction. It means setting clear boundaries around your spending habits, allocating resources mindfully, and continuously reminding yourself that more stuff or more luxurious experiences do not equate to more happiness. Instead, the Stoic practice of temperance encourages contentment with sufficiency, finding joy and peace in what you already have, appreciating simplicity, and understanding that endless accumulation leads only to a restless, unsatisfied mind. The practical outcomes of temperance in financial life are profound. By consistently spending less than you earn, you build a financial cushion that acts as a buffer against life's uncertainties, medical emergencies, unexpected repairs, job loss, or economic downturns. This buffer is a critical source of peace of mind, enabling you to face challenges without panic or desperation. It also helps reduce reliance on credit, lowering stress associated with debt and high-interest payments. Furthermore, temperance frees up resources that can be invested in what truly matters to you, whether that's education, meaningful experiences, charitable giving, or long-term goals such as home ownership or retirement. living with temperance, also fosters a deeper internal transformation. It strengthens your self-discipline and enhances your ability to delay gratification, both essential traits for financial success and personal growth. Rather than being ruled by impulsive desires or external influences like advertising and social comparison, you reclaim control over your financial choices and, by extension, your life. Budgeting shifts from being a tedious restriction into a deliberate, empowering practice of self-mastery and value alignment. You begin to see your money as a tool to support your higher purposes, not an end in itself. In the broader Stoic vision, temperance in budgeting is inseparable from virtue and wisdom. It aligns your financial behavior with reason, encouraging you to avoid the pitfalls of greed, envy, or frivolous spending. This alignment not only builds material stability but also cultivates inner wealth, calmness, clarity, and resilience that cannot be shaken by external circumstances. Over time, temperance creates a foundation for a fulfilling life, where financial freedom and personal virtue coexist, each reinforcing the other. Ultimately, embracing temperance as your first pathway in the Stoic art of budgeting invites you to transform your relationship with money from one of scarcity, anxiety, and excess into one of balance, purpose, and peace. It offers a timeless roadmap for mastering your desires, living intentionally, and using your resources to build a life rich in both financial security and meaning. Number 2, distinguish needs from wants. Prioritize with clarity. In Stoicism, external things like wealth, possessions, and status are considered indifferents, neither inherently good nor bad. Among these, some are preferred indifferents, such as health and financial stability, while others are dispreferred, such as sickness or poverty. Crucially, the Stoics teach that true well-being does not depend on these externals, but on virtue and wisdom. When it comes to money, this means recognizing that wealth itself is neutral. It can serve us well or lead us astray depending on how we relate to it. The key to financial discipline is learning to clearly distinguish between what is genuinely necessary, our needs, and what is merely desirable or superfluous, our wants. Applying this Stoic insight to budgeting transforms how you allocate your resources. The first step is meticulous awareness, tracking exactly where your money goes so you can see patterns and identify areas of unnecessary spending. This honest accounting allows you to categorize your expenses with clarity, separating essential needs like food, shelter, healthcare, and basic security from wants, which include non-essential luxuries, impulse purchases, and fleeting desires. Even among wants, the Stoics would encourage reflection on which align with your core values and long-term goals, such as investing in education, experiences, or relationships, versus those driven by momentary impulses or societal pressures. This practice of careful differentiation helps prevent wasteful spending and ensures that your financial resources serve your highest priorities. It fosters a conscious and intentional approach to consumption rather than reactive or habitual spending. By aligning your budget with your true needs and meaningful wants, you reduce clutter in your financial life and create space for what truly matters: peace of mind, security, and purposeful living. Beyond practical budgeting, this mindset cultivates emotional resilience. When you clearly distinguish between needs and wants, you are less likely to fall victim to the endless cycle of craving and dissatisfaction that consumer culture promotes. You develop the ability to say no without guilt or fear, knowing that true contentment arises not from accumulating more, but from wisely choosing what is enough. This clarity in spending nurtures gratitude for what you have and diminishes anxiety about what you lack. In essence, this Stoic pathway encourages you to budget with intentionality and discernment. It's about respecting the neutral nature of money and possessions, and choosing to allocate your resources toward things that genuinely support your well-being and values. By mastering this distinction, you gain greater control over your finances and cultivate a mindset that transforms budgeting from a burdensome task into a practice of wisdom and virtue. Number 3, practice voluntary discomfort. Build resilience against material desires. One of the most profound teachings in Stoicism is the practice of voluntary discomfort, the deliberate choice to experience small hardships or simplicity in daily life to build inner strength and reduce dependence on external comforts. Far from being a form of self-punishment or deprivation, this practice is a powerful exercise in cultivating resilience, self-control, and gratitude. Philosophers such as Seneca and Musonius Rufus recommended regularly stepping out of one's comfort zone, whether by eating simpler meals, wearing modest clothing, or forgoing luxuries temporarily, as a means to train the mind, prepare for adversity, and appreciate the blessings of everyday life. In the modern world, this ancient wisdom is especially relevant. We live in an age saturated with consumerism and instant gratification, where social media constantly bombards us with images of what we should have, fueling endless desires and eroding contentment. The result? Many struggle with chronic dissatisfaction, overspending, debt, and the anxiety of trying to keep up with ever-escalating standards of comfort and lifestyle. Voluntary discomfort offers a powerful counterbalance. It helps break the automatic, often unconscious cycle of craving and consumption, fostering a mindful and intentional approach to money. So how does voluntary discomfort apply to budgeting and saving? First, it means intentionally creating moments or periods when you refrain from non-essential spending. For instance, you might designate no-spend days, weeks, or even an entire month, during which you commit to purchasing only what is absolutely necessary for survival and basic well-being. This practice has multiple benefits. It interrupts impulsive spending habits by forcing you to pause and consider each purchase carefully. It also reveals how little you truly need to be content, expanding your capacity to live well with less. Over time, you learn to separate wants from needs more clearly and cultivate satisfaction that is independent of material goods. Another powerful technique is to implement deliberate delayed gratification. Whenever you feel the urge to buy something non-essential, impose a waiting period, for example 24 hours or a week, before acting on that impulse. This pause allows the emotional surge of desire to subside and gives you space to evaluate whether the purchase aligns with your values and long-term goals. Often the impulse will fade, helping you avoid wasteful spending driven by fleeting emotions. Voluntary discomfort can extend beyond spending habits into everyday lifestyle choices that support financial discipline. Choosing to cook meals at home rather than dining out, taking up less costly hobbies, or simplifying your wardrobe are practical ways to lower expenses and cultivate an attitude of sufficiency. Decluttering possessions and resisting the urge to constantly acquire new things also reinforce this mindset, making your life less cluttered materially and mentally. The psychological benefits of voluntary discomfort are profound. By voluntarily embracing small hardships, you build mental toughness and reduce the fear of future scarcity or hardship. This strengthens your willpower, making it easier to stick to budgets, savings plans, or debt repayments over the long haul. You become less vulnerable to emotional or social triggers that drive unnecessary spending. Moreover, you deepen your appreciation for what you have, which fosters genuine gratitude and peace of mind, qualities the Stoics regarded as essential for a flourishing life. This practice also helps recalibrate your baseline desires. When your standard for enough adjusts downward, you free up resources to save more, invest in meaningful goals, or simply reduce financial stress. You develop the confidence that your happiness does not depend on external possessions or circumstances, but on your own virtue and wise choices. In the bigger picture, voluntary discomfort is a pathway to greater freedom. It liberates you from the endless cycle of craving and consumption, allowing budgeting and saving to become expressions of self-mastery rather than sources of stress or deprivation. By training yourself to be content with less and building resilience against material desires, you not only improve your financial health, but also cultivate the Stoic ideal of inner tranquility and autonomy. Incorporating voluntary discomfort into your financial routine transforms money management into a deliberate, empowering practice. It moves budgeting beyond mere arithmetic into the realm of philosophy and character development, helping you craft a life defined by intention, discipline, and profound contentment. Number 4, view money as a tool, not the goal. One of the most transformative insights from Stoic philosophy is the radical redefinition of wealth and money. The Stoics teach that money, like all external things, is an indifferent, meaning it is morally neutral and neither inherently good nor bad. Wealth in itself does not guarantee happiness or virtue. Rather, it is the way we use it and our attitude toward it that determines its true value. Seneca, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, profoundly observed, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." This perspective challenges our modern cultural obsession with endless accumulation and material success by highlighting that poverty is ultimately a state of the mind, defined by insatiable desire, not the quantity of possessions. When you internalize this Stoic viewpoint, your entire relationship with money shifts. Instead of perceiving money as the ultimate goal or source of security, you begin to see it as a practical instrument, an essential tool to support a life grounded in virtue, purpose, and meaning. This subtle but powerful mindset shift is the foundation for a healthier and more intentional approach to budgeting and financial management. In practical terms, this means your budget stops being a mere ledger of expenses and income. It becomes a conscious, values-driven plan designed to help you live in alignment with your highest principles. Every dollar spent or saved is viewed through the lens of whether it contributes to a virtuous and meaningful life. For example, your budget may prioritize spending on family needs, education, health, charitable giving, or activities that enrich your character and community. Meanwhile, frivolous or impulsive purchases lose their allure as you recognize they do not serve your deeper goals. This approach naturally fosters intentionality. When money is a tool, not an end. Saving is not about hoarding for the sake of having more, but about creating the freedom and stability to live well and pursue virtue. You save to provide a cushion against uncertainty, to invest in growth opportunities, and to ensure you can act generously or wisely when the time calls for it. The act of saving becomes a disciplined, calm practice rooted in foresight and purpose, rather than anxiety or greed. Equally important is the Stoic teaching on detachment from external outcomes. While you engage in prudent financial planning and budgeting, you also recognize the limits of your control. Market fluctuations, unexpected expenses, or economic downturns may impact your finances, but these events do not dictate your peace of mind. You cultivate an inner resilience and acceptance, knowing you have done what is within your power to manage your resources well. This reduces financial stress and fear, replacing it with confidence in your ability to respond virtuously to whatever circumstances arise. This perspective also nurtures a healthier emotional relationship with money. Without attachment to wealth as a source of identity or happiness, you reduce greed and the compulsive need for more. You become more grateful for what you have and more generous in sharing it. Money becomes a means to express your values, whether through supporting loved ones, contributing to your community, or enabling personal growth, rather than a measure of your worth or success. To implement this Stoic view in your budgeting, begin by clearly defining what a purposeful life means to you. Identify your core values and long-term goals. Then design a budget that allocates resources primarily toward supporting those ends. This might include setting aside funds for education, health, meaningful experiences, or charitable donations. Simultaneously, trim spending on non-essential items that do not align with your values or contribute to your overall well-being. This value-aligned budgeting also encourages mindfulness and clarity in financial decisions. When confronted with a spending choice, ask yourself, does this purchase help me live virtuously? Does it support my true priorities or simply satisfy a fleeting desire? Over time, this questioning trains your judgment and helps you resist consumer culture's endless push for more. Ultimately, embracing the Stoic perspective that money is a tool, not the goal, liberates you from the endless cycle of craving and anxiety that plagues so many today. It empowers you to manage your finances with wisdom and serenity, transforming budgeting and saving from chores into practices of self-mastery and purpose. By aligning your money with your virtue, you not only build financial stability but cultivate inner freedom, peace, and a life rich in meaning. Number 5. Automate discipline and review with reason. Stoicism teaches us that living a virtuous life is inseparable from reason, order, and intentional habits. The Stoics valued the power of rational thought not just for momentary decisions but as a guiding force shaping daily routines and long-term success. Marcus Aurelius famously kept his evening reflections as a method to examine his actions with calm, honest reasoning, learning, correcting, and growing. Applying this Stoic wisdom to budgeting and saving reveals a practical approach that balances discipline with compassion, structure with flexibility. One of the biggest obstacles to consistent budgeting is the unreliability of willpower. Even the most determined individuals can falter when faced with temptation, distractions, or fatigue. The Stoics understood human nature well and recognized that we need external supports, systems, and habits that reduce the burden on our limited mental energy and help us stay true to our goals. This is where automation becomes an indispensable ally. Automating your finances means setting up processes that work for you behind the scenes, requiring minimal daily effort, but yielding consistent, reliable outcomes. A key practice is the pay yourself first principle. arranging for a fixed amount of money to be automatically transferred from your checking account to savings or investment accounts immediately after each paycheck arrives. This simple step prioritizes saving above discretionary spending, removing the temptation to spend what you had intended to save. It builds financial security steadily, without requiring constant vigilance or motivation. Automation also extends to bill payments. Scheduling automatic payments for recurring expenses, utilities, rent or mortgage, insurance, subscriptions, not only protects you from late fees and penalties, but also preserves your mental space by eliminating one common source of financial stress. With essential payments taken care of reliably, you can focus your energy on bigger financial decisions and personal growth rather than managing countless small details. However, automation is not about mindlessly setting things on cruise control. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of reasoned reflection, regularly pausing to assess our actions and their alignment with our values. This is why incorporating a deliberate review process into your financial routine is critical. Much like Marcus Aurelius's evening meditations, schedule weekly or monthly financial reviews, where you calmly examine your spending and saving patterns. During these reviews, look objectively at your budget versus actual expenses. Celebrate your successes and acknowledge where you may have strayed from your plan. Importantly, do this with kindness, not harsh self-criticism. Stoicism teaches that errors are opportunities for learning, not sources of shame. Ask yourself questions like, were my spending choices aligned with my values? Did any impulsive purchases sneak in? What changes can I make to improve next month? This rational evaluation allows you to spot patterns and habits that either support or hinder your financial well-being. Perhaps you notice that dining out costs balloon in certain weeks or that you consistently underestimate transportation expenses. This insight lets you adjust your budget realistically, set clearer priorities, or implement additional controls like no-spend days or expense caps. In this way, automation and reasoned review form a complementary system. Automation handles the routine, repetitive tasks, saving you from decision fatigue and temptation, while reflection ensures you stay consciously engaged, learning and adapting your financial habits to align more closely with your life's goals. This balance reflects a fundamental Stoic principle. Use your reason to design structures that reduce unnecessary struggle and foster sustainable virtuous behavior. Rather than viewing budgeting as a constant battle of willpower or a source of anxiety, it becomes a calm, systematic process that supports your broader aim of living with purpose, discipline, and tranquility. Moreover, this approach helps you cultivate patience and persistence. Financial progress is rarely linear, and setbacks are inevitable. By reviewing with reason and without judgment, you nurture resilience and keep your eyes on the long-term prize instead of being derailed by short-term frustrations. The stability created by automation combined with the insight gained from regular reflection equips you to navigate financial challenges with grace and steady resolve. Ultimately, mastering your finances through systematic prudence transforms budgeting and saving from tedious chores into empowering practices of self-mastery. You gain greater control over your money, reduce stress, and build a foundation for lasting financial freedom, all while embodying the Stoic virtues of wisdom, discipline, and rationality. Number 6, prepare for the future with serenity. Look ahead without anxiety. Stoicism teaches that while we must fully engage with the present moment, True wisdom also demands that we prepare thoughtfully for the future, but crucially, without succumbing to anxiety or fear. This balance between mindful presence and prudent foresight is the hallmark of prospective prudence, a cornerstone of the Stoic mindset that can transform how we approach budgeting, saving, and financial planning. Life is inherently unpredictable. External events, economic downturns, health crises, job changes, often unfold beyond our control, and worrying about them serves no practical purpose. The Stoics remind us that what we can control are our choices, attitudes, and preparations. This distinction is liberating. Instead of wasting energy on futile worry, we focus on deliberate, rational actions that enhance our readiness for whatever the future holds. One of the most practical ways to embody this Stoic principle in personal finance is by building an emergency fund. This fund acts as a financial buffer, a readily available reserve that can cover unexpected expenses such as medical emergencies, urgent home repairs, or temporary income loss. Having this cushion not only shields your finances but also provides psychological peace, allowing you to confront challenges with calm and confidence rather than panic or desperation. It reflects the Stoic ideal of self-sufficiency, autarkia, cultivating independence from the whims of fortune and external circumstances. Yet preparing for the future is about more than just guarding against hardship. It also means setting aside resources for long-term goals that give your life meaning and security. Retirement, children's education, buying a home, or even philanthropy. This saving is not driven by greed or accumulation for its own sake, but by reasoned intention. It acknowledges that certain external conditions, financial stability, freedom from debt, enable you to live in accordance with virtue, pursue wisdom, and contribute to the greater good. In this way, your financial planning becomes deeply aligned with your values and life purpose. When it comes to investing, the Stoic attitude can be particularly transformative. Markets are volatile, unpredictable, and often irrational. Many people fall into the trap of trying to control or time the market, reacting emotionally to its fluctuations, which leads to stress and poor decisions. Instead, Stoicism encourages humility and acceptance. Recognize that you cannot control the market's outcome, only your own strategy and mindset. Invest with a diversified portfolio, guided by rational principles and patience. Accept losses without despair and gains without pride, maintaining equanimity regardless of external ups and downs. This approach fosters resilience and keeps your focus on the process rather than short-term results. A key element of this Stoic pathway is cultivating apatheia, freedom from destructive passions, specifically related to money. By preparing for the future without clinging to wealth or fearing its loss, you develop a serene detachment that strengthens your inner freedom. This mental state allows you to embrace whatever life presents, secure in the knowledge that your worth and happiness depend not on external possessions, but on your character and choices. Furthermore, this prudent preparation nurtures a sense of agency. Rather than feeling helpless or overwhelmed by uncertainty, you regain control over your life's trajectory. By taking deliberate steps, building emergency savings, planning for major goals, investing wisely, you create a foundation that supports peace of mind and purposeful living. Ultimately, preparing for the future with serenity is about integrating rational foresight with emotional tranquility. It transforms financial planning from a source of stress and fear into a practice of wisdom, discipline, and hope. This pathway empowers you to face life's uncertainties with courage and calm, turning budgeting and saving into acts of virtue that protect not only your wallet, but your soul. By embracing this Stoic approach, you don't just accumulate money. You cultivate the mindset and habits that allow you to live a life of greater freedom, purpose, and peace. Budgeting and saving don't have to be a burden. When guided by Stoic virtues like temperance, reason, and foresight, they become powerful tools for self-mastery and freedom. The 6 Stoic pathways help you spend wisely, build resilience, and prepare for the future without fear. By applying these timeless principles, you transform money from a source of stress into a means to live intentionally and with peace of mind. Your finances then reflect your values, freeing you from impulsive habits and consumerist pressures. Start practicing the Stoic art of budgeting today. Take control of your money, align it with your purpose, and unlock lasting financial and inner freedom.